times I've said this is the last desk setup video in this space. It's been ongoing. It's almost like a joke now for the past couple years. This has to be it. Like, we are almost at the home stretch. If you're new, if you're following along, I'm currently building a house which is over a year and a half delayed. I'll show some clips of where we're at. The new studio is almost there. We just had our final paint job, so all this stuff is going to be moving in the next, like, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, couple months. This will be your very last look at what my current place looks like. This desk setup / all my stuff, I try to keep on the minimal end. I will leave everything obviously linked below. Let's get to it. The finale. It better be. So you can see the overall like color theme of most of my stuff. It's just, you know, very clean. It's white with white oak. Those are the two colors that I kind of go with. So the very table that I'm using, it's funnily enough from a company called Rogue Concepts that no longer build it. This is actually like a dining room table. Is it too big for a desk? Probably, but for the kind of stuff that I do, I think it's like perfect. I've had it for 5-6 years. My go-to before that was like the classic like YouTuber IKEA desk. That is the kitchen countertop sitting on top of the Alex drawers. The main component that kind of builds the desk around it. So this is kind of cool. This is from a company called Bololo. This is their desk setup cockpit, and it's very modular of what you can do. So the main piece is this white oak riser, and from there you can go from a couple different sizes, and then because of that modularity, you can actually see the screws at the bottom. You can kind of buy add-on additions. For example, I've got my phone clipped onto what it's called the phone stand. There's also a MagSafe connector, so if you want to actually charge your device, you can clip that on. They've got attachments for laptops, they've got them for tablets, they've got them for headphones, and they also have little desk trays just to keep things all organized. What I love about them is their build quality and how premium the material is. Like, this is actual real white oak wood. They've got them in walnut. They've also got it in black. Maybe my one wish, if you wanted to go for like that all white theme, if they had this in just like a clean white. They've also got accessories for speaker stands, but the main component of any desk setup, which actually helps with cable management as well, is the main riser. So depending on how large your desk is, once again, you can go through their site and see all the different modules and the different sizes. Highly recommended. I think they kind of make the setup itself. So on to the main, I guess, like component, the main like PC. So I am like Team Mac. I edit all my stuff on Final Cut. I just have been sucked into that Apple ecosystem. I have foolishly bought a Pro Display XDR. Is it worth it? Absolutely not. Like, you are overpaying for the design, you're overpaying for this milled aluminum. Is it the best looking monitor on the market? I definitely think so. Sadly, the thing doesn't even have speakers. They charge over $1,000 for this like piece of aluminum that it sits on. You could theoretically get it mounted to a Visa stand. But like I said, I think you're paying more obviously for that Apple name. There are so many other displays that I would recommend over it, but as like a piece of art for a statement piece, and once again, I got it because the channel was doing so well, because of all the cool social stuff. This was like a gift to myself. And on like the very first week that I owned it, I chipped it. I'll show you, thankfully that chip has not extended and cracked into the main glass or into the main display. I will baby this until it dies. Bury me with this thing if you have to. If you really want an Apple display, you can just grab their Studio display. I think that's way better value for the money, but I will admit, this is like my guilty tech purchase. So onto the main computer. In terms of value, I think this is like the best computer that Apple came out with in 2024. It's the new redesigned Mac Mini. I think Apple smashed it. So $599 US, $799 Canadian. And with student discounts, you can get like an extra $100 off. Apple and budget don't really go hand in hand, but that is for the base M4 chip, which if you're looking for a computer, if you already have, an existing monitor, if you have peripherals like the keyboard, mouse, etc., this is the computer that you need to get. It is such good value. I can't stress that enough. Obviously, you've got most of the I/O on the back, and you've got the 2 USB-C ports on the front. The biggest like contention point is the on and off button that sits on the bottom. That's totally fine with me. This little computer can pretty much run like 95% of people's workflows. It's super good. And on the other side, sitting on my little laptop stand, I've just got the M4 MacBook Pro. That isn't as big of an upgrade. The only difference there is the new nano texture display, which I believe you can actually get for the Pro Display XDR as well. I just have mine in the gloss. So that is my main like computer setup. Like I said, for peripherals, because I have my existing ones that I've been using, this is the keyboard that I have. This is the Keychron Q5 Max. I like it because the heft, once again, it has that nice premium feel. If you are someone that sits behind a desk for a really long time, invest into a good quality keyboard. I love this little scroll wheel on the side, which you can program. It's super clean. Once again, kind of fits into the aesthetic. It's got mostly white keys with like a hint of blue, which is great. And for the mouse, I'm using the Logitech MX Master 3S. That is like my go-to mouse for years now. I was hoping in 2024 Logitech was gonna release the 4S, but we didn't get it. Once again, if you are someone that sits behind a computer for more than an hour of a day, please save your wrists. Do not get carpal tunnel. Do not use the trackpad of your laptop. Invest like 70, 80 bucks into a mouse that is ergonomic, and you'll thank yourself. Maybe like most important piece of a desk setup is something that you actually like use the entire time you're in a desk. That is a chair. So this one is from Herman Miller. Once again, a pricey edition, but the fact that I've had this chair for 5-6 years and I've had no issues. It's the M body and I've got it in like the white/black. I will say that the cushion, or I guess like the fabric, probably needs a good clean. I haven't cleaned it in a couple years, but maybe when I move to my new place, I can get that steamed. But in terms of like the actual like functionality, the build, how many years later, I'm not getting any weird squeaks. It isn't giving me any discomfort. And like I said, if you're spending time in a chair behind your desk, save your back as I get a bit older. I'm going through those like common like back pain problems. Speaking like I'm like over like 50 or 60 or something. Get yourself a good chair. Your back will thank you. Trust me, it's just the amount of time that I've put into, sitting in one place. This is like the best investment that I've made. Moving into my new spot, I will continue to use this until this pretty much breaks down, falls apart. Bury me with my chair as well. So next on the list for me, headphones. I mentioned that I am, Team Apple. They're just kind of easy to pair across anything. These are the AirPod Maxes. Are they the best headphones on the market? No. They're once again a bit too expensive for what I think you're getting, but they are, super premium. What I do like about these though is the fact that these little ear cups are removable, they're magnetic, and if you do wear them for a long time, since I usually fly with these AirPods, they do collect gunk and they just collect kind of dirt as you go. You can either buy new ones, once again, are super expensive, or you can just clean these. That's probably the best option, and that just increases the longevity of the headphones. The big thing for these is the addition of USB-C now. Apple claims these are orange. Orange is obviously my favorite color, which you'll see a lot of hints throughout this desk. I would say that these are more peach, but Apple, if you're hiring anyone for color accuracy, I'm on deck. I know audio is super subjective, but if you're looking for another pair like the WH-1000 X Mark Vs from Sony are usually my other go-tos. And since I mentioned this really expensive ass monitor does not have speakers, you probably need a pair of headphones. On the desk / on the thumbnail, you'll probably see my Yamaha HS7s. Those are theoretically like studio monitors. Do I use them? Sadly, no. They're mostly just there for aesthetics. I originally had them set up a couple years ago, but since you need an audio interface, since they're not like an easy plug and play, because I struggle with cable management, I just have them solely to look good. They're once again a piece of tech that I've had for years. Don't flame me. Another guilty tech pleasure of mine. You'll just have to deal with it in the comments. So next on my desk, which actually just slots into the desk setup cockpit again, this is the new iPad mini, which just got a redesign or refresh this year. I think the iPad mini is like quintessential iPad. Like some of the newer ones, like the iPad Pros, even the new iPad Air in the larger size, they're just too unwieldy. What I really like about the iPad mini is you can actually use it with one hand, which is I think what a tablet is made for. And when it's attached to my desk, say with Sidecar, I can have this as like a secondary display on my Mac. Usually on the second display, I've got things like, EPL, soccer, some sort of like content playing on the side. Once again, that's just when I'm working away. And when I want to leave the desk, I can grab my iPad. I can use this on the couch. I can, carry it around easily in one hand. And I'm sadly not an artist. I never really use it with the Apple Pencil Pro, but it is an option. And I like when it's connected to the desk. It's kind of like sturdy and I can like jot down notes if I need to. So that's kind of like the main accessory that lives beside the desk. And I guess like the last one, which I kind of see in front of me here, is a gaming controller. So my gaming is super limited. This is once again just more of an aesthetic piece. Maybe I play the occasional like basic game on my Mac. I know that Macs aren't really known for gaming. They've got some basic ones in Apple Arcade, which you can pair, say like an Xbox or a PlayStation controller. This one just means a lot to me. So I had this custom made from Xbox. They sent it over obviously in hints of orange, and they have like my obviously little name tag on the bottom, and that just kind of lives off to the side. So I am generally like Team Xbox for gaming, but my gaming time has been pretty minimal. So if you are someone that spends a lot of time maybe you stay away from Mac and you actually get like a real PC to do actual gaming, because that's what they're meant for. And then I would say my last piece of tech that kind of lives on my desk is the thing that I use to shoot like all my content with. So for example, I'm recording right now in a Sony. This is like my A7CR, my kind of like go-to vlogging rig. These usually live on my desk because, you know, when I'm done recording content, I can just offload it, just simply pop out the SD card. I can plug that either straight into my MacBook Pro, or I've got a dongle for my Mac Mini. Then I'm able to edit, you know, all of my stuff. I mentioned that I edit on Final Cut. If I then need to airdrop things and I'm posting them to social, I can either do that straight onto my iPhone, to my iPad. Mac OS Sequoia actually has this new feature called iPhone mirroring, where you can bring up your iPhone onto your Mac display. So all those like basic apps, you know, on social like Instagram, like TikTok, that don't have fully dedicated, you know, desktop apps, when it's just easier to type out hashtags when you're kind of doing that for a living, that's a bit monotonous. That's way easier on a keyboard, and that kind of all works within that Apple ecosystem. So like I said, I'm sucked in deep into the black hole. The last piece, I guess, like tech-wise, it's more like those accessories that really make your desk setups unique. Those are like my favorite additions. So if I'm kind of like looking around, I'm a big stationery fan. So for example, I've got pens, notebooks that kind of live in my little desk organizer. If I look off to the side, you know, I mentioned that orange is my favorite color. I've got this little orange Porsche here. I've got, you know, Team Bulbasaur. He is my favorite. So I've got this Funko Pop. I've got this little PSA 10 Japanese Pokemon card, of course, Bulbasaur, which is just kind of usually propped up against my monitor. It's just something that I can glance at, brings a smile to my face. I feel like your desk setup should kind of like mirror your personality. If it brings like you happiness when you're looking at it, your workflow will just get better. You're more motivated. And I think those little additions obviously are the best. You can also see the last ones. I've just got Lego scattered throughout my studio. I'm a huge Lego fan. My next build is Jabba's sail barge. That will probably be my new build moving into my new studio, but I will leave everything that I've mentioned listed below. If I'm not in my new place by like February, March of this year, there is a big problem. Really sorry for all the delays. I know that I've been like teasing the place for the past couple years, but a lot of that is out of my control, and I'm just really excited to start a new desk setup in that new spot. Happy to hear any more like recommendations. If you guys have them, I will definitely check that out. I will build that out in the new spot. So hope to have my like revised new studio 2025 desk set up sometime coming out this year. Until then, I'll catch the rest of you in one of my next ones. Peace.